some time ago. It's not very new, but this happened. A dress. You probably saw, some of you saw this on the news, when at the Met Gala, the largest fashion event in the world, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez wore a white gown, a white dress, with the message, "Tax the rich." This statement immediately sparked a heated debate, and especially online, but not only. Met Gala is the event that attracts the most rich people in the world, probably. And the fact that she was invited there made some people to call her a hypocrite, because she was trying to pretend that she is involved in this. She wanted to deliver a message, but she was one of them. On the other hand, where, if not at Met Gala, is the best place to send this message to the world? So there is a Talmud page, there is a Talmud passage that will look very distant and not connected to this topic. So please bear with me, and let's try to reflect together on this topic. And this passage is about sharing resources you have. So if two people were walking on a path and there was only one jug of water in the possession of one of them, and the situation was such that if both drink from the jug, both will die, as there will be not enough water for both. But if only one of them drinks, he will reach a settled area where there will be some water. So what would you do? As we are not giving any details about the people in the Talmud, we have to assume that they are similar people in age, status, and other aspects in life. There are three main options. You may find more, but there are three main options we will discuss today. One, the one who has the water should drink it and survive. Second, both should drink and both will die. Third, the one who has the water should share it, should give it away to the other person. I'm not going to do an experiment and ask you to raise hands. And it's a difficult question. It's a difficult moral dilemma that Talmud presents us. So would you share, knowing that you will lose your life, but knowing that you serve them, or would you drink? Or maybe you both will be would be onerous people, and both would share it, and both not going to reach the land. So this is how Talmud continues. Ben Petora, one of the rabbis, taught, "It is preferable that both of them drink and die, and let neither of them see the death of the other." This was the accepted opinion until Rabbi Akiva, a great scholar of the around first and second century of the Common Era, came and taught that the verse, he found the verse in Torah that helped him to approach this topic. And the verse is this: "If your brother, being in a difficult financial position, comes under your authority and is currently a resident guest with you, let the brother live with you. Don't exact advance or accrued interest. Fear your God." And this verse, according to Rabbi Akiva, indicates that your life takes precedence over the life of the other. Well, Rabbi Akiva quotes this verse and from this week's Torah portion. And from the first glance, it doesn't seem to be connected at all. So how would he decide? How would he come to this conclusion based on this verse? The context of this portion is about supporting our fellows and not using their poor financial situation to make money. So don't give somebody money expecting to return more if they are poor. People in the most vulnerable position often cannot stand for themselves, and they accept whatever conditions they're offered. If you happen to be in a position of authority over people in need, you should not use your power for your own sake. Just help them. This is what Torah says. The Talmud, however, presents this verse from a very different perspective. It draws the attention to just one word. Your brother shall live with you. And the you is the emphasis of this verse. The key word is imach, with you. In other words, the person in need needs you. And it is you you is the main character. The person who helps is the main character in this story. It means that if you look after others, make sure that you are in good health and financial position so that you can afford it. If you spend all your resources on others, you will lose the possibility to help more people. Rabbi Akiva adds an important dimension to this week's Torah portion. Jewish understanding of charity is not about pure altruistic selfless virtue, but a pragmatic approach to kindness. If you happen to have water and the other person does not, you should not share it, if it will mean that you will die. Commentators on this Talmud Sugya emphasize that the fact that it is you who has the jug of water emphasize the fact that it's you who ended up with the jug of water in the first place. Although it's important to think about the moral and ethical implications of your choice, you cannot ignore your own needs. Let's put this message into a wider context of this Torah portion. God instructs Moses to tell the Israelites that in the 7th year, and I believe we will hear this more read and explained tomorrow, but I'll just touch and I'll just give a context. In the 7th year, every 7th year, the land shall observe Shabbat. Nothing shall be planted on your fields, and vines should not be pruned. After 49 years, so 7 times 7, a Jubilee year is to be celebrated when all the land that had been sold during that time should be returned to its original owners, and slaves are to be freed. So the concept of 7th year, the year called Shemitah year, and the Yoval, the Jubilee year, is introduced in this week's Torah portion. How can you survive for a year without food gathered from your fields? That's a very practical question. On the surface, this Torah portion is not realistic, maybe utopian. But looking at it from a pragmatic perspective, it forces you to build a system where your life is not dependent only on one source of income or supply chain. If you know that the year Shemitah, the sabbatical year, is coming, it forces you to to diversify your life. At the same time, if you can survive a year without working in your field or without work, it means that during the other 6 years, you will have a surplus, more to share with others. If you can create the system where you can save during the 6 years, diversify and can afford not to work on your fields for a year, it means that your cup is full and you have an important task in this life to keep filling the cup, and overflow will become for other people. It also means that we have to be partners and cooperate with others. Only sharing resources between Jews and non-Jews in this case, during sabbatical and jubilee years, can ensure our survival. So these laws at their core are not just about rest, but about how to lead our lives outside of this year. Why do we need a time of crisis? To test our systems and rethink our priorities. Why do we need prosperous and successful times? To prepare for the times of crisis. To build a system of abundance and diversity so that we can share this abundance with those in need. The underlying principle of the Torah is simple. The world is big enough for all. There is enough food, clothes, shelter for all people in the world. All we need to do is to build a world that ensures fair equity. Blaming people with resources will not solve the problem. Sometimes helping others means not to share, but to think about the system that will help you to provide essential support to more people. As we enter this Shabbat, I hope we will take this time to recharge, reflect on our lives, and think about the ways how we can help others in the most efficient, in the best way, but without causing harm to ourselves. Shabbat Shalom.